Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Law Life podcast. We're here with Megan Valles, a former CA bar style student, a resilient survivor of breast cancer, bring out the tissues, a practicing attorney. Her story is so inspiring. You're going to be moved. You're definitely going to laugh because her and I's energy is magnetic. Here we go. So Megan, talk to me about the beginning of your journey of going to law school. Why did you want to go to law school? What was the inspiration there?
This is going to sound really cheesy. I loved all of those Law and Order shows,
Me too.
CSI, all of that. I don't know. That looks so fun. And I was
that from a young age? Like you watched Dateline at 10 years old? Okay.
Dateline. Love
Me
all
too.
of this.
I can watch it all night long, be an investigator.
And I was working retail selling sunglasses and handbags at the time right after college, and my friend was on, didn't you want to go to law school? Let's get on that. And so that's when I was like, all right, it's time to get a big old job now. Let's start working towards that process. So that's how I got into law school.
Okay, and where did you go to law school?
I went to the University of West Los Angeles here in the Valley, and then I also attended their LAX campus as well.
Okay, and how was law school for you? Was it kind of smooth sailing? Were you working?
It was exhausting. I was 8 to 5 full-time at a law firm, and then 6 to 10 classes Monday through Friday. That was my life.
So you did like a night program, like a part-time kind of night program. So you worked all day in a law firm, and then at night you went to classes. So how long did that take you? Like 4 years?
Yeah, it took me 4 years.
Okay. And during that time, you're living in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, right? And are you liking law school? Any major obstacles during that time? Or was it just, obstacles is kind of a broad word because law school in itself can be challenging. And I think we all have those moments of, why am I doing this? How am I going to keep going, right? What was your favorite subject?
Favorite subject was torts, hence why I'm a PA. But law school was different than undergrad. Undergrad, I was in a sorority. I had a lot of friends.
I can tell you were in a sorority. Yes.
There was a lot of work hard, play hard balance going on. And law school, completely different. It's strict business. So people were there who were attending that particular law school were working people. They had their husbands, their kids, and all of that. I didn't have any of that, but I had a full-time job, and that was just enough for me to handle. I don't even know how people who have husbands and kids even got through law school. Props to them.
Well, my last year, I had my son, and I had a C-section with him, and then I had to go to the mock trial to graduate, and I don't even know. We just do it. But women, this is March. This is Women's History Month, and it's a big part of your story, right? That strong is resilience that we'll get to. Men as well, dads do it, but women, I feel like, take on a lot more at times, and we just can fight through things at a very high level. Not that men can't, men are resilient as well. So then you go to law school. Law school's, pretty intense, but not too bad. You're working, and then you graduate, and then what happens? You have the bar exam waiting for you.
Yeah, you have your strong subjects in law school, and then you have your weaker ones. At that time that I graduated and I was studying for the bar, I had no idea that I had to remember all of these subjects, that I went in one ear and out the other. I burned those books where you think, I never have to see these subjects ever again. I'm done.
Right.
That comes back to at the bar. And for me, that was wills and trusts and Conlaw. Haunted.
What area of Conlaw would you say do you remember? Just all of it. The Dormant Commerce Clause, right? Privileges and immunities, all that stuff. The scrutiny level.
Yeah, I have a good foundation of those subjects because, I did what I had to do to pass in law school. I got in, I got out.
I want to talk about that for a moment. You did what you had to do. So for our viewers that maybe are considering law school or had a similar experience, so sometimes you get into law school and you could have been a straight A student in undergrad, but then all of a sudden, I remember because when I graduated USC, I graduated with honors and I had a very high GPA. And then I get to my first year of law school and it's like
reality check.
A-, C+, contracts kicked my ass beyond. And now I can litigate a contract, I can draft a contract, I remember getting low grades and going, WTF, like what the hell is going on here? And so speak about that, because I think a lot of law students, right, that are high achievers, pretty much all of us are, to take on this endeavor. And then we're in law school and we're going, am I made out for this? Is this something that I should keep doing? So your mentality was like, I just need to pass my class.
Yeah. I mean, I was always told your employers don't ask your grade, what you got in torts or criminal law. Like, you just need to pass and ultimately pass the bar exam. You're returning when you pass the bar exam, no matter what. And I was working full time, so I didn't have the luxury of, I have an 8-hour day to brief my cases and write this amazing outline and all of that. And I didn't even understand half of my subjects. I had my best friend in law school the night before the final exam help me, give me a final rundown. I was that one shy student in class, believe it or not. I was very shy.
I can relate to that. Mm-hmm.
If I had a question, I would be on my MacBook and typing the question to my friend on iMessage.
No way.
Saying, can you ask for me? Yeah.
Oh my God, I freaking love that. I think that mentality is going to help a lot of law students right now to hear that, because I think the perception of getting straight A's as a law student is not necessary unless, I don't know, maybe the big law firms look at that. But you can definitely be a successful lawyer and do whatever you want to do in practice with not having straight A's and even high B's in law school, and keep going even through that. Okay, so you get out of law school and here comes the bar exam, and you don't like wills and trusts. You're having nightmares about constitutional law. Then you take the bar exam. Do you remember what you did your first time to prepare?
I did Barbary. Everyone does Barbary. Everyone's like, do Barbary. And it's the cookie cutter law school, bar exam prep part.
Yeah. It's the commercial bar prep that everyone's been going to forever. Yes.
Okay, let's on the credit card. Mommy and daddy aren't helping me out with any of this, so let's do it.
Okay.
And I remember going through, still not understanding half of the subjects. The outlines weren't clicking in my head. The light bulbs were off at that time. I was terrified of the bar exam.
Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on that? Was it more just the prep in itself, having to pause your life? What was the fear?
There was a couple things. You finish law school and you have this amazing accomplishment, and you want to celebrate with your friends, and you want to go out and people travel the world and do all of these things. And I'm like, no, you're back studying 12 hours a day for 3 or 4 months.
Right away. Like, you graduate and then it's like, boom, right to the chair of studying.
Yeah. And then also there's like the fear that, the California bar is the hardest in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Package rate and
a little higher than that. But yeah, somewhere between a 25 to 30%.
I have a fear of how am I going to be perceived if I don't pass on the first time.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think anyone does. I think most lawyers, law students are type A personalities, and we're very used to getting our way. And when we put our minds to something, typically it works for us, right? That's how we got through those initial years. And then here comes the bar exam, and it's like, just kidding. You're not as smart as you think you are. But really, in essence, and I can say as being a bar exam coach, tutor for almost 15 years now, it's a game, right? You're playing a game of chess and a strategy.
In bar prep, you have to learn how to play their game.
Well, you have to learn it, and the problem is a lot of the courses don't teach it. So, and even law school, there's such a passive understanding or kind of preparation of just law and application with not a lot of strategy involved. So we have a lot of applicants law. So you go to Barbary, your experience is very fast paced. And did you go into the test feeling any which way prepared?
I felt like I was prepared as I could be at that time. I said, you know what, I'm going to give it my best. Well, yeah, I went into it with a positive mindset.
Okay. Because you're such a positive person. So you were like, I'm going to do my best with this, despite maybe not feeling great, but I know I'm smart. I know I studied the material. I'm going to go in. And what happened? How was the actual taking of the first time? Do you remember anything? Any highlights?
This was in person.
Okay.
I just remember it being like an all-day thing. You can't, get up or walk around anywhere. It was
exhausting. It's a grueling. So did you take 2 days or 3 days?
2 days.
2 days. You took the 2 day, right? You take a July bar, right? I'm assuming right out of law school. Okay. Do you remember what year that was?
2021.
Okay. And then for the July bar, the results come out in November. So it didn't go your way the first time.
I was devastated. I it really hard. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't pass. My best friend in law school also didn't pass. So we were in like a mental low for a while.
Let's explore that because so many applicants feel that way. And applicants feel that way even going in knowing that they're not prepared well. And it is like, you log in, they give you like a code, and then it either says your name appears on the pass list, or I think it just says nothing. What does it say if you don't pass? Do you remember? It's kind of like brutal.
Yeah, if you have a score, it means you didn't pass.
Okay, right. You log in the first time and then it says your score and you're like, shoot. And so what was the actual emotion? Do you remember that you felt?
It was more like disappointment. I wasn't overly confident where I was, I got this in the bag, I'm going to pass. I worked so hard and that I didn't do enough to get me across that threshold. Okay, if that's what hard work, what I thought was, look to me, I'm going to have to work twice as hard to do it the second time around.
Got it. And do you remember, was it like the essays, the PT that were low, the multiple choice, or was it kind of all around?
All around.
For the viewers that have not taken the bar exam yet, they give you your score report, which really makes no sense to most applicants. It's convoluted. It's 50s and 60s if you don't pass, usually on essays. Maybe you go up a little bit. 65 is passing on the essays and PT, and then you're looking into either a high 1300, 1400s on the multiple choice. So you were kind of all around needing improvement in all three areas from what you recall. Okay. And so what was your game plan? Because I think a lot of applicants at that time, or some, say to themselves, should I wait? Should I take the exam right away? The next exam from November is the February exam. And what was your kind of train of thought?
After, I think I gave myself a week to mope around and be sad and depressed.
Okay, important.
My positive mentality kicked back in and, okay, stop crying. We're going to get up and do this again. Let's go. What is different than last time? Because that's a big thing for me is don't do the same thing over and over again. It's clearly not going to help you.
Yeah.
So I was like, what are my options? Obviously, the finances were a big consideration for me.
Yeah.
One of my law school professors was, I do a small little side hustle. I help bar applicants prep. It's a smaller course. I'll give you essays to practice, yada, yada, yada. I take, I think, 10 students and that's it.
Those little groups scare me a little bit. So I'll tell you why. It's not that the professors aren't necessarily qualified, but just because you teach contracts doesn't mean you know how to teach the whole gamut of the bar exam. And so I get a lot of applicants from those little study groups in those law schools with the professor doing the bar prep. And unless you're in the trenches with bar applicants and really understand the totality of the needs of what can happen, it's not always the best preparation. I'm not saying it can't work. You just want to be weary of that. Okay. So did you take that little small group? Did you go into that?
I did.
Okay.
That's also when I wasn't as focused as well. I'm mingling around with these little boys and wasn't fully focused.
While you're taking it your second time, you're dating.
And my mentality was, well, if I work really hard from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., I can go out at night.
Okay, so the thing is, yeah, you definitely don't want to party or go out too much. I mean, I'm not saying don't date, but when you're taking the exam, you do have to be focused. But in your defense, I mean, you come out of law school and then you go to the bar exam, you give it your all, you wait a few months for results, then it doesn't go your way, and then you have to take it again. You also want, you're young, you're beautiful, you want to have a life. You want to go out, you want to have fun. So it makes sense that you would kind of make this structure for yourself, right? And you don't have Shawna at the time going, Megan, that's not a good idea. I see you on Instagram. Like, stop throwing it out. Get out of Hollywood. I know it's fun out here, but let's buckle down. Okay. So you're in this study group. So this is your second time now taking it. And I love that you own that too, right? You're like, I know that I wasn't as focused.
Absolutely.
So that's your second time. We don't need to harp on that. And then you take it again.
Yeah. Second time, actually, I just want to add that I went into the bar exam already knowing, okay, this is what happens when you have to sit. The whole procedure, I knew what it was like. So there was very minimal nerves walking into the bar exam as far as a procedure went and what I expected from the proctors and everything like that.
And what are the emotions like this time?
Worse than the first time. It was even a bigger slap phase, but you should start to second guess yourself.
But let's talk about the preparation the second time, because you took this professor, this small group setting. Did the professor look at your exam? Did you change up your prep at all? What was the discrepancy? Because I know a lot of applicants go like from bar prep to bar prep and they're like, okay, well, this didn't work. But there has to be a change in the approach, right? So there's a lot of different types of formats to bar prep. And, what I do, of course, is very interpersonal and interconnected. And we're looking at the totality of an applicant's life and work, study balance and the strategy and all the prep. But not everyone does that. Most courses don't. So in that small group setting, was there a shift in the preparation from, let's say, the Barbary format? Did you kind of change it up at all with the professor, or what was the preparation
There's a lot
like?
of like, let's take past bar exam questions and let's discuss it together as a group. What are the issues? And then go home and do an hour essay time bar. There was not a lot of accountability of it. You need to do this at this time. And then I was still also trying to learn the law at that time too, because I still had my weak subjects. You can't be learning the subjects at the time of bar. You already need to have understanding.
Yes, that's the importance of early prep. And every time I stress for applicants to, start early, there's always like, well, it's so early, right? We're so far removed from the bar, but the months really do catch up. And then all of a sudden you're like 5 months into early prep and you're like, I only have maybe a grasp on 50% of the material. It's a lot of law. We're talking about 15 subjects. So, okay, you take your second time. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And then what's Megan's mentality at this point?
I cannot afford to take this any more times than 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't have any more time. I don't want to be studying and wasting 4 months of my life again doing this. I'm like, let's get it done this time.
Yeah, because at this point from graduation, it's a year of bar exams back to back.
Yeah, I was back to back bar exams.
And then you're like, I'm only going to do this one more time. And then you find CA bar style.
I did some like Google research. I'm like, what are the top like bar prep courses?
Oh, whoa, you did your research.
Yeah, I was like, this is the last time I'm taking it. I was like, we're going to get it right this time. And what I really liked when I came across your course, I think I found you on like Facebook or Instagram or something like that. And like Shawna gives personalized tutoring one-on-one. She'll look at your past bar exams and tell you where you messed up, where you did good, and create a personalized individual plan to get you across that finish line. And I was like, that's my girl.
Awesome. Yeah. And I think when applicants, and thank you for saying that, but when applicants do the research on different tutors, it's important to have that connectivity. It's hard to sometimes have like through a computer, right, or through social media, but that's why the more and more you can research and find out about the tutor and know your personality and what you're looking for at that point. And that is a really crucial point, because when you're taking it multiple times, there has to be a moment, like I'll tell an inquiry, to like have a conversation in the mirror. How much of the prior prep did you really do? What was missing for you in that preparation? Was it the coaching, a personal level of attention? Did you feel like you were just a number in a class? There's so many variables, and you have to be really in tune with your needs. Now, sometimes you don't know, right? Sometimes you're not sure and you need someone to guide you. But even just a little soul searching to kind of get to the bottom of what's taking multiple times to take this and what you're potentially going to need to really get it done is crucial. So you enroll in the course, you take the exam, and what would you say, during this third time now? So is your focus back? You're feeling...
So this was during COVID, during 2020. So the bars are closed, the clubs are closed.
Okay, so...
I'm not dating anybody. I'm like, I am taking this seriously. Like, I meant it.
Oh my God. Was it a remote test or were you still in person?
Remote test that took place. And you had navigated us through that to a T. We were the guinea pigs for the first remote bar exam. I had 6 months of no social life, but I was working out and studying. My face was on a freaking laptop for 12 hours a day. And I was at the gym for an hour a day. And I did that for 6 months.
This is what it takes, everybody. This is what it takes. And what would you say the difference was, if you recall, with the CA bar style methodology?
Number one, your outlines are golden. For the first time in 4 years, it clicked. in my head. The light bulb went off. Yeah, for the first time, it made sense what I was learning.
Right.
Number 2 is the accountability. Your weekly, I think we had Zoom calls weekly.
Right.
That was a huge help for me because you held me accountable. It was like, okay, you're not going to just sit back in Shawna's class and be a nobody. Like, she knows who you are. She will get on you and tell you to handle your work and make sure you're doing it.
Yeah, because here's the thing. I know what it takes to get it done. So if I'm not seeing that progress, of course, everything needs to be constructive, but I am going to let the applicant know. And I've gotten a lot better because initially I was in the beginning years, I was like a little insecure, timid to tell an applicant, like, it's not looking your way, right? It's not looking good. We've got to, figure out what's going on here, or maybe postpone to another exam.
The motivation, the positive mindset that you brought, you were the biggest advocate of put your personal life aside. It's going to come at you and try to steer you away from your focus away from all of this. But you have to literally put all of that away and just focus on you and yourself. You are the most important person right now for the next 6 months.
Right? It's okay to be selfish. And that's a hard thing to kind of wrap your head around because a lot of us are big givers, or we have people we have to worry about or think about. But it is a very selfish test. And you do have to be extremely focused and somewhat egocentric while you're taking it. And that's the way you do it. And then you can cater to everybody else again. So, okay, you take it this third time and ta-da, and you pass.
This is probably, I'm not married, but like, this is the biggest, most important life event that I've had in my life.
I still remember my results too. I was running around our apartment at the time, just elated, just so happy. And you remember that, right? You never forget it.
The nerves of that day when bar results come out, I was sick to my stomach. I go home. It was just me and my mom. I open up my laptop. 6:00 comes on. I check the results. Oh my God, is this real? I look closer. It's there. I take a screenshot with my friend. All my friends knew too that my bars were coming out, and they're like, Megan, like, what happened? Like, and a few of them were like afraid to reach out because they didn't know how I would react. My best friend want to reach out to me because we also were on the same boat here.
Did she pass?
She passed.
Her third time also?
Yeah.
I love that story. What a beautiful story of friendship and support. So congratulations, you passed the exam. Your perseverance and hard work and believing in the program and staying on track. I remember you extremely focused and determined, and this tenacity of, I'm not doing this again. Sometimes it's that simple mantra that really gets you to the finish line, because even on the hard days, you're saying, I'm never doing this again. And I want to point out that when we talk about the mantras and we talk about the state of mind during the bar prep, you really can't just, kind of say, I need to pass. I have to pass, because that's a lot of pressure, right? Yeah. How bad do you want it? I love that. How bad do you want it? So what have the last couple of years been like for you in your practice?
So I practice personal injury. I am a trial attorney at the Drake Law Firm.
Litigator. Where is the Drake Law Firm? Let's give it a little plug.
Woodland Hills.
Woodland Hills. Okay.
Come say hi.
So you're practicing in personal injury. You're a litigator.
Yeah.
What is that like? Have you found any kind of obstacles? Maybe not call them obstacles, but any highlights about being a female litigator? Because I have so many stories of not being taken seriously.
100%. I mean, I'm young as it is. I'm 32.
Yeah, you look super young.
When I started practicing, I was 30. And I would show up for Zoom depositions, and they said, oh, okay, great. Is the attorney coming? Hi, the attorney is right here.
Like as if you're the paralegal, right?
Absolutely.
Or the admin.
And I would get comments made by even older female attorneys from defense counsel that were like, oh, sweetie, like, I have genes that are older than you.
Haha, they're just trying to dig.
Trying to check, that's when I'll laugh. So.
Okay, everyone, you want her representing you. Do you see that confidence? Love that. So we just brush it off. We don't engage in that. But that is so rude. My dad but he's retired now, a litigator for 45 years. And I was practicing with him initially, and I was in court, and another female attorney said, are you the assistant to Mr. Capellas? And I had a briefcase in my hand, one of those yellow pads. So clearly I look like the part of the lawyer. Why do you think it is that female attorneys, especially the new entry level attorneys, right?
It's a predominantly male industry. I mean, most of the defense attorneys, or even the plaintiff's attorneys that I work with, they are in their 50s and 60s, and they're white and they're male, and they look at me and they're like, "Oh, okay, your bar number is a 3. Like, did you get licensed yesterday?" I surprised a lot of people because I've been doing personal injury since I was 21, working for a law firm as a receptionist, getting their coffee and answering their phones. So this is definitely not my rodeo. I had a funny story where my first trial, I had the defense attorney, also male, older, and he thought he was going in there and this was going to be an easy, win for him. And he ended up getting a job after. I was like, I'm good on the plaintiff side. I could never be a defense attorney, but thank you, and I'm flattered.
Right. Well, that's so amazing to hear how much you're killing it. I mean, I had no doubt you would, and I'm so proud of you, and I can just see you in the courtroom. I would be scared to be in the courtroom opposed to you. I think that for anyone listening, it's really important not to judge a book by its cover, and us female attorneys can rock it. And yeah, I had so many cases where I would sit across this very macho, sophisticated opposing counsel who thought that I, really knew nothing. And I was trained in a lot of different areas of law, but especially when I did construction law, and they thought like, oh, it's such a male dominated field. And I would talk about mechanic liens, and I knew about drywall, right? And plumbing, because my book on all this stuff. And then they would just be silent, right? But of course, they'd always think I was there with the clipboard, just kind of as the little assistant, not the attorney. So you do have to sometimes pave your way. What about in your personal life? I know that there's been a heavy road there that's gone on.
2 years into my practice, I had gotten diagnosed with breast cancer, and this was completely something out of the blue where my mom had actually just finished her treatment in her battle with breast cancer.
Wow.
So me going into this,
Did you detect it? Did you feel a lump? What happened?
I noticed something different, like a discoloration or a bump on my left nipple. And that's something that it was like protruding almost out of my nipple. And I was like, that was not there yesterday. And it was just there today. And I asked my mom.
Within a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
And she was to go to Kaiser and get checked right now. And I go into Kaiser and I'm like, "Hi, I need a mammogram." And they're like, "I'm sorry, how old are you?" Like,
right.
We don't just give mammograms to 30-year-olds. And I was like, "You're going to give me one."
Gotta advocate for your health.
Yes. So I went through the whole, diagnostic testing, and then they confirmed my diagnosis a week before I was supposed to start my first trial.
Wow, I have chills.
And I was just, I don't have time for this. I just worked so hard to pass the bar exam, and I'm just starting my career. I'm not letting this derail my life. It was more an inconvenience for me. And I was like, I'm going to go into my first trial, give it my all, and I will deal with this after. That was my game plan.
So did you literally put aside any treatment or second opinion or anything like that, and you actually litigated the trial?
I litigated the trial. I already had a scheduled surgery date at that time. Like, I was just like, okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and just take my breasts. I don't want them anymore if they're going to be, that cool to me.
You are my hero.
I didn't even tell my boss, my coworkers, only my close family knew at that time. I want to prove myself. Like, my career is what's most important to me. I don't care about this stupid breast cancer diagnosis. Like I said, I was in denial. I was like, I'm not dealing with this right now.
Okay.
And I trial and I lost, but it was a tough case.
You actually didn't lose. You went into your first trial after a very devastating diagnosis that at the time makes sense. You want to block out. You've been through so much with the bar exam and law school and all. And then you have this trial. And then does it hit you? Does it hit you like I have breast cancer?
It hit me a couple days before my surgery when I was crap. And that's when I had reached out to my coworkers and I put like a little social media post on them. Hey guys, going through this, I could use all the support and the hugs that you guys can give. And my litigation team at Drake Law Firm, this is my second family.
That's beautiful.
We are so close. And I had the entire team come down to my office and they were wishing me, good luck, anything you need, you got this, like you're breast cancer, so great support system.
You're so strong, Megan. You're so strong. And so you go into, it's a double mastectomy, right?
It was a mastectomy I had. And it was interesting because when they opened me up, my tumor was the size of a grapefruit. It consumed my entire breast. And they said, there's no way that this was growing in you for maybe the last 2 weeks. So like this took at least 3 or 4 years to accumulate.
And no symptoms in 3 or 4 years?
I felt fine. I felt there was no way I would have known unless I had that visual abnormality on my breast that I noticed.
Wow. So that's crazy. The size of a grapefruit?
Yeah.
That is crazy. Okay. How does that feel as a woman? I mean, we're always the society is so fixated on our breasts and women's, and you're just like, cut them off. Like
I said, take them. They told me I could get the reconstructive surgery and I said, that's fine. I'll opt in for that. But it was the worst pain I've ever felt. It was extremely painful. And my only thought was, when can I go back to work?
That's your thought.
I'm not a very good homebody. Like, I hate being home. I like being out either at work or with my friends.
I mean, you are the epitome of no excuses, right? Even through the whole journey that you went through with law school and the bar exam, you're working, you're a go-getter. I mean, that's clearly your personality. And then you have this cancer diagnosis and you're still going. And I've dealt with cancer in my life tremendously. My mother passed away from it. My aunt has it. I had a cousin. It really is a mindset to get through it. So good for you for having that mindset.
I mean, I saw my mom go through this entire process the last 2-3 years. And so I knew exactly what she was going through. And I'm just, okay, well, am I going to have to go through chemotherapy? Am I going to have to go through radiation? Am I going to lose my entire hair? All of that was going through my mind. But I said, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get back to, let's put this behind me. I thought the doctor says I need this treatment. Let's go ahead and do it. Thank God I didn't need chemotherapy and I just did radiation therapy.
Mm-hmm. Did you lose your hair?
I didn't know. Thank God I didn't have to do chemotherapy.
It looks beautiful. Wow. I just want to give you such a round of applause this is the definition of perseverance. And so how are you feeling today? How are you feeling now? Are you cancer-free?
Cancer-free. I had my second surgery January 2nd of this year, complete. And they said, you're going to be off for 3 months, blah, blah, blah. And I was back at work in a week.
No, you did not.
Well, I went snowboarding the day after I finished my radiation treatment.
That's that spirit of life. And when you have that and you have that mentality, it really can get you through anything. And I haven't had that my whole life. It took having major trauma for me to get through some major life event to then say, okay, I have tools to do this. But I think also what you exhibit so well is this love of life. You're like, I'm going to take the bar, but I'm also going to keep living. And I'm going to have breast cancer, but I'm going to have a surgery and then go snowboarding. And I find that to be absolutely enlightening and beautiful.
And I know how hard I work to get to where I am right now in my career. And I'm like, I'm not going to let cancer just take this away from me. And I'm like, what are we going to do to put this behind me so I can continue to have, a successful career? I have goals in my career. I want to become an ABOTA member.
You will. I have no doubt. Whatever you put your mind to, girl, you are going to accomplish. I can guarantee you that.
And one of my favorite quotes is this, which I have on my wall. It says, your comfort zone will kill you. So you have to learn as an attorney, and I think even as a bar prep student, get out of your comfort zone because that's the only way you're going to grow, learn. I've learned to be okay with failure because you always end up learning something out of that.
Your comfort zone will kill you. That is a perfect way to end this incredible episode of resilience, perseverance. You are such a fighter. Your mindset is something to be admired, and I couldn't be prouder of you. Thank you so much for coming on. This was such an amazing discussion. I know for a fact you're going to inspire thousands.
I should be thanking you. You make this possible.
Don't make me cry. I'm tearing up. I appreciate the credit. I really do. But as I'm sure anyone listening to this, hearing this story today, Megan, it's you. It's you that got this done. It's you that persevered. It's you that went through taking the bar multiple times, working through law school, getting cancer, having a double mastectomy. Keep pushing on, keep going. And it is so inspiring, and I'm so excited to share your story with everybody, and I can't wait to see what you're going to do in the future. I know such big things are coming for you, so please keep in touch, and hopefully we'll get to do a follow-up episode soon. Your law firm, again, is the Drake Law Firm in Woodland Hills. If anyone needs personal injury, I think we all know we want Megan representing us. And so you do plaintiff or defense work?
Plaintiff's work, yeah.
Plaintiff work, okay. Well, hopefully we don't have any personal injury stuff going on. I don't wish that on anybody, but if you do, the Drake Law Firm,
call me.
Call her. It's been delightful. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in person soon and have a drink.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Law Life, a podcast about navigating law, life, and everything in between with host Shawna Capellas. Thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for episode updates. For more information on the show or preparing for the California bar exam, you can visit us on YouTube at CA Barstyle and at cabarstyle.com.